Well, hello there, everybody. How y'all doing tonight? Oh, that was weird. That was weird. Okay, I forgot to turn off the headphone output in Reaper, and it was doubling, and I was like hearing myself. That was. Bleh. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I deeply dislike how that felt. I was like, oh, why is it doing that? That is not good. Do not do that, please. Do not ever do that again. I do not enjoy that, but anyways. So, the hell was I gonna say there? You ever have those moments like, what the hell are you gonna say? And you just draw a complete blank. Like, you have no idea what it was you were even gonna say. And I think it was just the fact that, you know, I flashbanged myself with the headphone thing that completely screwed up any thought process I had going there. That was awful. But anyways. Shit. Did it again. I did it again. God damn it. Shit. I have something I'm gonna say. I try and remember what the hell it is. And I was like, you try and reach for it. It's like, and it's gone. Just disappeared. Reduced to ashes. Off into the ether. Never to be seen again. Oh, I do have one thing to say actually. So I am finally restring. So I have to I still have to get the strings. I've ordered them, but I am restringing. So I restrung one of my basses already, the 4-string. That's on flat wounds, which let me tell you right now, flat wounds feel very nice. Like, you don't know how smooth. Like, if you play like guitar or any other kind of like steel stringed instrument, any like steel string, whether it's a guitar, bass, whatever, if you've only ever played on round wounds, you have to try, you have to try flats, and honestly vice versa. Because like the thing with flats is like the flat ones are so smooth. Like, it is actually quite shocking. It was quite shocking when I first put them on. I was like, oh, that is so smooth. But anyways, the big thing with both of them is, so the reason why I haven't been playing either one of them on stream is because my hands decided they were gonna break out really bad with the, like, you know, with dry skin and shit, and I was like, oh. So basically, anytime I would start playing them, they would start cracking, and, you know, the skin would start cracking and splitting and flaking, and it would bleed and hurt like hell. I don't know. I suspect to some extent that part of that was the nickel in the strings, which was mostly the thing for the 5-string, because that one had nickel strings. The 4-string has always had stainless strings. But better safe than sorry. I am now putting stainless strings onto the 5-string as well. Also, something else I've been doing this week. You might have seen me post on either of the social feeds, wherever you are. I have been working on a couple of old Game Boys to install new screens on them because, well, one's a Game Boy Pocket, one's a GBA SP. And both of them are getting IPS mods. I'm doing an IPS mod on both of them, and then I'm also doing a USB charging mod for the SP. Part of the process for that, it isn't necessary, but a Dremel makes the job easier because there's like a whole bunch of plastic on the inside you have to cut away, and you can really smooth it down with a Dremel, and it's a lot nicer than if you were just using flush cutters. What the fuck is the word? Yeah, flush cutters. But there is one downside to doing it with a Dremel. And that is because it's a grinding tool, the plastic gets hot. It starts to melt and maybe even burn a little bit, which first of all is probably not a good idea in long run. But putting that aside, it smells awful. Burning I don't know if it's because this is 30-year-old ABS plastic from, 1996. This is ABS plastic from 1996, like 20 and 30-year-old, ABS plastic on each of on each of these little Game Boys. 30 for the Pocket, 20 for the SP, or if that's just how ABS smells. But it is so damn bad. Like, I think you really need to understand just how bad ABS plastic smells. It is incredible. It is incredible how bad this stuff smells. Like, the first time I was like, oh God. Because it's like somehow, it's not just the usual burning plastic smell, right? You think of like the smell of like burning plastic. It's kind of sharp, kind of like new shoe smell, but bad. No, this has another layer on top of that, where it's like rotten fruit of all things. It's got like a rotten fruit smell to it as well. Like, this stuff is bad. This stuff is really bad. And then also, like I said, on top of that, it's probably not good to breathe. Let's just put that out of the way. Like, I wasn't doing much because it was just Dremel work. So it was mostly, there was only just a little bit of burning and melting happening, as opposed to, say, if I had stuck with soldering iron onto it or was, 3D printing. But still, it's such a horrible smell. I do not recommend it. And honestly, next time I do any kind of work like this, I'm probably going to get a I've got a third one that I'm also going to work on at some point. That was just a regular Game Boy Advance. But before I do that one, I'm going to get a respirator, because I do not want to be dealing. I just, seriously, that stuff smells awful. Like, aside from the fact that it's probably hazardous in some way, it smells awful. It smells absolutely horrendous. But on the other hand, also kind of hazardous and probably not something you should breathe for extended periods. And you should have good ventilation when you're working on it. But solder flux smells pretty damn good. It shouldn't, because, you shouldn't breathe it because, again, it's kind of hazardous, but it smells pretty damn good. And I don't know how I feel about that, but I know why it smells good. So most soldering flux is made from rosin. Rosin is made from pine tree sap. And if you've ever been near a pine tree, you know how that smells. You know how, like, have you ever like broken the branch of like a pine tree, or you ever seen like the little droplets that pine trees have on them where like an animal has scratched them? It's sticky, almost it's like sticky. Sometimes it's kind of hard. If you ever take that and you smell it, it smells really nice. Now imagine the smell of that burning. It's a really good smell. It's legitimately a really good smell. But it is, again, absolutely not. It's not something you should be breathing like for extended periods. And if you're working with it, you should have ventilation. But oh man, what is it that smells worse, Chumbusis? What is it that smells worse? What do you know that smells worse? I can probably think of a few things that smell worse. But what do you got? What have you got that smells worse than 30-year ethanol. I like the smell of ethanol. I like the smell of ethanol. So, I mean, it's like it's alcohol. That's the smell of alcohol. I like the smell of alcohol. So I cannot agree with you on that one, unfortunately. I actually do really enjoy the smell of alcohol. It's also, I mean, that shouldn't be surprising because I also really, oh, well, yeah, no, it's the same stuff. It's the same stuff. And again, I was about to get into, I love the smell of gasoline. I absolutely love the smell of gasoline. Gasoline and tire rubber, hot tire rubber, can both smell really good. So like one of my top three of my favorite smells are gasoline, hot tire rubber, like after a burnout, and gunpowder. Specifically, the black powder that gets used in fireworks and muzzle loaders. It's this very distinct. Oh, I've gotten gasoline on myself before, believe me. I know exactly how that feels. It's annoying. It's annoying, yes, because then you have to carry the smell with you. And even if you like a smell, carrying it around with you all day, if it's really strong, sucks. But yeah, no, I like the smell of gasoline. I actually do legitimately like the smell of gasoline. It's definitely not a very overpowering smell and not something you want to be around for extended periods, but I like the smell. There is another thing. So this is something that gets used to, it's something that gets put on wood to maintain it and basically keep it from drying out and such. That's called paste wax. And a lot of paste wax has some kind of, I don't know what it is. It's some kind of solvent in the paste wax. I don't know what it is. But again, it smells like diesel. It smells like gasoline or like diesel. It's a very distinctive, like, petrochemical smell. I really like the smell of that stuff. It's, again, very powerful and probably not something you should be around for extended periods of time, especially in a poorly ventilated room. But it's a good smell. You used to snort inside of Lowe's. What do you mean by inside of Lowe's? Like you would go to the hardware store, you'd like make sure nobody was looking, and then you'd grab like a paint can and try to sniff it? Is that what you mean? Is that what you were doing? You know, honestly, on some level, I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly. Oh, when your dad was inside Lowe's, you would loudly breathe in the. Okay, depending on what aisle you were in at the time, I can understand it. Especially when you're in like the lumber section of the store. Yeah, no, of the entire store. But yeah, no, the lumber section of the store in particular, though. I can absolutely understand that. Absolutely understand that. Especially when it's, you know, especially when it's rained. Like after it's rained and the humidity's come into the store and all the wood's just a little bit damp and it's starting to dry off and release that moisture back into the air. I don't know about that one. But yeah, no, like you would go into the store. It had been raining that morning. But like I said, if you're going in there and it had been raining in the morning, say for example, and then you go to the lumber aisle, and you know, like it had been, and all the wood's just a little bit damp, and it's starting to release that moisture back out into the air because the rain's ending. You know, the rain's out. It hasn't rained anymore. The humidity's starting to go back down. Basically, is what I'm saying. So you will get, just along with that, all of the various like volatile oils and such out of the wood, and especially the pine, the yellow pine wood in particular smells pretty good. I'm not gonna say like, oh, it smells so good, but it smells pretty good. Like legitimately, it smells pretty nice. Especially, like I said, with all that stuff going on, and especially when it's like, again, the relatively new wood that it doesn't have any sap in it left, because first of all, they typically use the heartwood for lumber, and second of all, most lumber is seasoned to some extent to dry. Actually, that might be exactly what's going on, because the lumber was dried in, say, like a kiln or whatever to season it. And now water, like moisture's come back into it and it's evaporating back out. Those things that were trapped in the wood by the drying process got a bit of water back into them. They became volatile again. And now that the water's evaporating back out, it's releasing those. That might actually be exactly what's going on there. I don't know, but either way, the smell is really nice. That's the main part that matters, is that whatever it does, it smells really nice. Actually, oh, do you know what is another plant? Do you know what is another plant that smells really, really good? Have you ever touched the stems of a tomato plant? Have you ever touched the stems of a tomato plant? They smell incredible. The stems of a tomato plant, when you touch that, they release like this, again, they release this really volatile oil. The stems of the leaves do. It's really it's really volatile oil, so like it's got a very strong smell, but it's kind of piney, kind of citrusy, I think it's a really pleasant smell. It's kind of a hard smell to describe, but I enjoy that smell a lot. And it makes me a little sad that the only part of a tomato plant that is edible are the tomatoes themselves, especially because I really don't like raw tomatoes. Like specifically raw tomatoes. Dried or cooked tomatoes on the other hand, oh my god, something magic happens when you apply heat to tomatoes. I don't know what it is. Like, you remove the moisture from the tomatoes, you dramatically reduce the tomatoes' water content, and it does something to them. And that's on top of whatever the hell happens from applying heat to them. Either way, the result is really good. The result is really good. It's got, and again, the result is really good. I mean, just look at how many things people make from tomatoes and you'll see exactly what I mean. It is really damn good. Oh shit, I should remember what I was gonna talk about. I should remember what the hell I was gonna talk about. So, I was talking to Wise. I don't know if you know Wise. You're gonna see, you'll meet him on Saturday if you haven't seen him before. But so I was talking to Wise about horses from the US that could be added to Uma Musume, because he actually plays Uma Musume. I like the actual horses. I like following the actual horses and kind of the character design stuff. I don't really play Uma Musume because the gameplay doesn't really appeal to me, but he actually plays it. And it was entirely because somebody had posted a bit of animation / art of Secretariat of a bunch of really famous US horses that ran historically, particularly in the 70s. I think it was, let me go look and I can tell you which ones they were. Actually, let me just play it for you. Let me just play it for you so y'all can see exactly what I'm talking about. Because this was the thing that he posted that I saw and I was like, oh, this is really good. Where the hell is... There it is. Where is it now? I don't want to show the whole window, whole screen. That's the main thing, right? So I don't want to show the whole screen. Oh god, I was trying to move. I'm trying to only move the browser window and resize it, but it really wanted to move my overlay for whatever reason. But this is the video. This is the video that I saw. I don't know if it was Wise that posted or somebody else in Wise's Discord, but I saw this and it was, you know, it's these three, which are. So Secretariat, who was, you know, Dr. Fager, Man of War, and Winning Brew, who are all like really famous historical racehorses, right? Like the four of them are all like really famous historical racehorses. It does not get much better though when you bring in current era racehorses, because there are some absolute monsters. Even if you're focusing on horses that have already run their career and are now retired, you're dealing with some absolute monsters. Like for example, California Chrome. You have California Chrome. You have American Pharaoh, the first horse who was at the time the first horse in 40 years. I want to say, yeah, 40 years to win the U.S. Triple Crown. And Gunrunner, who Gunrunner is one. But so you have Gunrunner, who was incredibly successful, and also Arrogate. Arrogate holds the current U.S. record for the most winning, the highest lifetime winnings of a single racehorse in the U.S. Yeah, they hold the current record for the highest lifetime winnings of a single racehorse in the U.S. Almost $20 million. Oh, there's the second one. Let me just kill this fucker real quickly. Let me just go ahead and kill this fucker real quick, because obviously, yeah, I see him. I see him, Mex. And they're gone. Nice try, bot. But also, hey there, Mex. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So you have California Chrome, who was a extremely successful horse and very, very nearly won the U.S. Triple Crown in, I want to say, 2014. Then there was American Pharaoh, who actually did finally end the U.S. Triple Crown drought in 2015, because it was the year after California Chrome's unsuccessful run, which, Triple Crown aside, California Chrome was an extremely successful horse. And then there's Gunrunner. Gunrunner was, until Arrogate, the highest winnings of any American racehorse. And also, to this day, has it's either him or Into Mischief. They kind of go back and forth. The highest stud fee of any stallion in the US. So this is a horse that has been incredibly successful both in racing and breeding. So you're talking about, you got these four horses. These four horses alongside the historical greats like Secretariat, Dr. Fager, Winning Brew, and Man of War. And then, like I said, you have like these more recent monsters. Yes, and in breeding. Yes, and in breeding, Mex. I am talking about a racehorse's career, and most of a racehorse's career consists exactly of that. It is literally, you are literally talking about extremely valuable stallions. And yes, that is exactly why they're valuable. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Yeah? Yeah? No, that is exactly what makes them valuable. Like, I was talking to Wise about this a while, about this a while back with Silent Suzuka. And his, his career up until the fateful race where he broke his leg. But the way I described it, the way I described Silent Suzuka, who was incredibly successful in Japan at that time. Like this horse was dominant on the track. And the way I described it to Wise was, people were putting stock options on this horse's testicles. I am not even joking. Like this horse's testicles were an investment. Considering how successful his racing career was, people were lining up even before he, because this was years before he was due to retire, if not for his horrible accident. Like I said, because remember, when a horse breaks a leg, that's a death sentence. Like just the way horses are built, breaking a leg is a death sentence, even if the horse is still standing. It's one of the kind of tragic things about it. But before that, people were lining up to have this horse come out and fuck their horse. It's like, hey, I have this mare who comes from this, and I have this mare, and this is her pedigree of a bunch of other prestigious racehorses. When your horse retires, I'm going to pay you thousands of dollars to bring your horse over so they can fuck my horse. That was literally the plan. That's what happens with a successful racehorse, by the way. That's what happens with a successful stallion specifically. If you own the mares, you're the one going to pay for this, by the way. Just a thing. He was going to be incredibly successful if not for that fateful day. On, oh God, what year was that? What year was that race? I have to go back and look again what year that was. $1998. If it had not been for that fateful day in 1998, his stud career would have probably been incredible. What person are you talking about, Chambusis? What person are you talking about? But yeah, no, like I said, the 1998. Oh, no, we're not going there. We're not talking about Mr. Hands. No. Do not recite the old magic to me, Chambusis. I was there when it was written. I was there the first time the story of Mr. Hands was being spread. So do not speak to me of things that I was there for their creation. But back to Silent Suzuka. He was, so first of all, in 1998, he had won 5 consecutive graded races. This is all like pretty well-known stuff. 5 consecutive graded races, and he had won his first grade 1 race, the Takarazuka Kinen. But then, 1998 Autumn Tenno show. I don't know what happened exactly. I don't remember if they said what it was, but like how it happened. But the important thing is, right at the very last turn of the race, his front, I want to say this is front right leg. No, it's his front left. It's his front left leg shattered. And that's the thing to remember. When a horse breaks a leg, so there's a couple of reasons why it's a death sentence. I've talked about this before, but it bears repeating. When a horse breaks a leg, there's a couple of things going on. First of all, horses don't have a lot of muscle or other supporting tissue around the leg bone, but also it's under the immense stress of supporting a 1,000-pound animal that is extremely strong. So when a horse breaks a leg, it is almost never a clean break. Usually the leg shatters. The leg bone shatters, and there's no good way to put it back together. Because let's say you break a limb, even if it was crushed and shattered, you have all of that supporting muscle and other tissue that, unless it's like pulverized, you can generally set. It might be an extremely complex procedure, but you can set the limb, set the limb, and let it heal. And like I said, and the muscle and other tissue around it will support it once it's been set so that it can heal. Horses don't have that. Also, horses have a bit of an unusual circulatory system where they are very reliant on their legs, on the impact of their feet against the ground to maintain circulation. They actually rely on this. It's like one of the several things they rely on. One of the several anatomical quirks horses have in order to make them run fast. In order to let them run fast, they have a slightly unusual circulatory system where, when they run, the impact of their feet against the ground is a major part of their blood circulation. So, alongside the fact that, like I said, you can't really set a horse's leg that's broken, blood is going to you cannot have the horse keep weight off of that leg. Even if you somehow managed to support the horse so that it didn't have to put weight on that leg, and it wouldn't try and fight to be able to put weight on that leg, because the horse doesn't know what the hell's going on. All it knows is its leg is hurt. It knows its leg is hurt, but it's still going to try and put weight on that leg because it doesn't understand the idea of not standing on all four of its legs. So, even assuming that you could get the horse into a supported position where the broken leg was held off the ground and the horse's body was supported, you're going to have other problems. You're going to have the problem that blood is going to pool in that broken leg, and it's going to start to get gangrenous. It's going to get gangrenous, and a horse cannot walk. A horse cannot survive having that leg amputated. That's the other thing. Horses can't really survive having a limb amputated. Because even if, because you still disrupted the circulatory system amongst other things, and also just they don't have the balance for it. So a broken leg is a death sentence. A broken leg for a horse is a death sentence. There's really no way to keep the animal alive once that happens. It's awful. It is absolutely awful. It's absolutely tragic. But back to what I was saying before the tangent about, how the majority of a successful racehorse's career is as a breeding stud, is either as a breeding stud or a broodmare. Putting that tangent aside, these 4 horses that I was talking about, right? These 8 horses I was talking about, the 4 from the past, Dr. Fager, Secretariat, Man of War, and Winning Brew. And then the 4 from today, which would be California Chrome, American Pharaoh, Gunrunner. Sure, what the hell is his name? Yeah, Gunrunner. And Arrogate. Dude, I honestly, I don't know. You could say Gunrunner or Arrogate because they were both very successful in much the same way. But in any case, these horses, all of those horses are absolute menaces. And the other thing is that horse racing in the US is primarily on dirt. So that's one of the big things about horse racing in the US. Horse racing in the US is primarily on dirt. So it's a completely different surface than what you normally see in Europe or Japan. Most horse racing in Europe or Japan is on turf. Grass, basically. It's on grass. And it's a very different surface. You want a hobby horse? Okay. Sure. Sure, I guess. But so one of the big things about horses that are successful, one of the big things you'll notice about horses that are successful on turf versus horses that are successful on dirt is they have completely different hoof shapes. Like, yes, they both have hooves. They both have, the very, essentially walking on a very large extended finger bone with a giant nail at the end of it, right? Like, that's not exactly what it is, but it's close enough. But the shape of it is very different between is different between horses that are successful at racing on dirt and horses that are successful in racing on grass. So horses that are successful on dirt tend to have very small, narrow hooves that can really dig into the surface. But the problem is, you then take that horse and put it on grass. That horse is gonna be expending way too much energy trying, again, doing the exact same thing, digging into the grass, which doesn't quite give the same way that dirt does. And so they're going to waste energy, basically. Their hooves are going to be on the ground for too long. And one of the biggest things about running fast in general is shortening how much time your feet are on the ground. You want to be in the air with no feet on the ground for as long as possible with each stride. And so that's the problem with the hooves of dirt horses racing on grass. Y'all have an insert horse pun of a good time, and thanks for coming by, Mex. Actually, I deserve the horse puns, considering that the other day I was kind of torturing. So the Wordle for like 2 days ago, the word was steak. And I could, none of us got it. We all, both on Takako and on the VC area Discord, none of us were able, it was dire. It was absolutely dire how that one went. Just people were just not getting it. But, the day afterwards, I was just torturing people with the steak puns. Afterwards, I was like, wow, y'all were really beefing with yesterday's Wordle. And I was like, damn, y'all got grilled. It's kind of funny too, because it's not that rare of a word. And I was just torturing them. I was torturing them with the steak puns. So you coming back at me with the horse puns, kind of deserved, honestly. Kind of deserved, I have to say. Definitely one of those things where it's yeah, I kinda deserve that one. Oh, god damn it, Max. God damn it. But So that was the thing, but that was the thing with that. But anyways, so he actually also, we were trying to figure out like what's like, you know, Wise did kind of interject with what one of the skills for an American, you know, for one of these horses, for California Chrome. He actually did come up with one of the skills for it, and the stats, which I don't know anything about the stats is the thing, so I couldn't actually, I had nothing to go with for that. So, but so if any of y'all actually play Uma Musume, tell me if this sounds right. It's like California Chrome, C Turf, A Dirt, F Sprint, D Mile, A Medium, A Long, Pacific Coast My Way. Midway through the race, if you've maintained second or third place, fatigue runners ahead. If you've maintained 1 to 2 lengths off the first place runner, greatly increase acceleration and moderately restore energy. Unique running style, Stalker. Chase down the front runners, spending more stamina than usual to rush and fatigue them. Strive to maintain second to third place until the end. That was, you know, that's what he came up with for California Chrome. And like we both agreed on one thing though, which is, like I said, character design wise, if for no other reason than because of the name California Chrome, they have to be a Gyaru. They have to be a Gyaru. Actually, I would go a little bit deep. I'll go a little bit deeper than that. You know what I would give California Chrome if they were to make an Uma Musume out of California Chrome? Do y'all remember the Winter Olympics last year? The figure skater, Alyssa Liu. Remember her like raccoon stripe hair? I would do that for California Chrome. I think that would actually work really well. Still have her be a Gyaru like that, but yeah, like give her like the raccoon stripe hair. And that would be like a really nice character design element there. The other one I still don't quite know what you would do for it. But some of it's kind of guided by the name of the horse, which is, like I said, American Pharaoh. And so American Pharaoh, you obviously first it was named that because his owner was Egyptian, and so you definitely would want to have some element of like, you know, Egyptian, you know, Egyptian reference in there. I don't know what it would be, but something, right? But also a couple of other things I think there should be is American Pharaoh's like default design should have earbuds. And that's because, so the real American Pharaoh, when he was racing, he ran with earplugs. Like a lot of horses will have ear bonnets, and those will have ear bonnets, but no, specifically American Pharaoh had earplugs. Because, you know, he was so sensitive to noises that the ear bonnets weren't enough, so he had plugs. And the other thing is, during the year when he ran the Triple Crown and won it, he had alongside, you know, like obviously, you know, he had the usual horseshoe like most horses have, right? But then alongside that, he had an additional protective metal plate under the horseshoe because he had gotten some kind of injury or something. Basically, it was the year he won the Triple Crown, he had some kind of injury or something that made that area sensitive. So he ran it with an additional bit of basically the equivalent of an orthopedic insole. He basically ran it with the equivalent of, not even an orthopedic insole, because it's protective rather than for comfort, right? So basically, he ran with a steel-toed boot. He ran with a steel-toed boot. And I feel like you would want to reference that somehow. I don't know if it would be like having, you know, having Uma Pharaoh wearing work boots, or some kind of like asymmetric, something like some kind of asymmetric element to her leg and her leg or shoe design, but something to reference that during the Triple Crown winning year, American Pharaoh basically ran with the equivalent of basically the horse equivalent of a steel-toed boot. I don't know what you would do to reference that is the thing though, right? It's like, what could you do to reference that the horse ran with that? Ugh. And that's the thing, I don't know. But you'd want to have something. You'd want to have something there to reference that. And then the other thing that comes to mind is, now that I'm thinking about it, oh, actually, so I don't know what the skill would I had a rough idea for what the actual skill would do for, not for American Pharoah or California Chrome, but for Arrogate, the horse, like I said, the horse that currently holds, well, posthumously, he did unfortunately die after retirement. Apparently he developed neurological issues a few years after his retirement and had to be euthanized. Sucks, but what you gonna do? But so like I said, held, posthumous, it's hold. It really is hold, even though it is posthumously. Hold, you know, because he retired after he broke the record. So, but anyways, holds the record for highest lifetime winnings of an American racehorse. And so one of the races he's really famous for is the Dubai World Cup. And I had a realization when I was looking at it, I was like, wait, and it was something the announcer said specifically. I was like, oh no, I know the name of the skill for this horse. King Croesus. So the actual announcer for the Dubai World Cup, when Arrogate ran it shortly before his retirement, the announcer calling out as Arrogate comes around the outside with, you know, comes around the outside chasing down Gunrunner. And the announcer's like, are we seeing the 21st century man of war? The King Croesus of horses, Arrogate. A is for anointed. A is for Arrogate. Like, this announcer's going wild about this horse's success and how much this horse has won in his career. Because I think that was his final race before retiring. But so, that was like the realization I had of just, you know, yeah, no, that's the name for this horse's skill, is King Croesus. So, who is King Croesus? King Croesus, or Croesus was the king of Lydia, which was a Greek, Greek kingdom on the western coast of the Anatolian Peninsula, where modern-day Turkey is. That king was famous for two things. So Croesus is famous for two things. One, he was incredibly, unbelievably rich. Which, if you know the Anatolian Peninsula, shouldn't come as a big surprise. The Anatolian Peninsula was famously in the ancient world. It had two things going for it that enabled whoever controlled the Anatolian Peninsula to be fantastically wealthy. First of all, it was, you know, it gave you, first of all, the actual peninsula itself is incredibly wealthy. The peninsula itself is incredibly resource rich. Second of all, and arguably even more important, is that with the Anatolian Peninsula comes the control of the Dardanelles and Bosporus Straits. And whoever controls those controls access between the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. So having control over the Mediterranean and Black Seas is an absolutely massive source of wealth. So that's one of the things Croesus is famous for. The other thing Croesus is famous for is a bit more unfortunate if you're Croesus. Also, I didn't see that dice roll until just now, so let me get that for you before you go, Chumbusis. I don't know if you're already gone, but let's see what you get, shall we? A 2. Far on the edge, but entering the realm of duality, but not quite staring it down directly. So yeah, no, a 2 for you. But so that's the first thing Croesus is famous for. The second thing Croesus is famous for, and oh god damn it, I just saw something. Give me one moment. I have to fix this real quick. I just noticed that something was kind of broken, so let me fix it real quick. Just take a second for me to do this. Specifically, it's the ad timer. I just noticed that was broken, so let me just fix that real quickly. But so the second thing Croesus is famous for is going to the Oracle of Delphi. Go to the Oracle of Delphi and asking whether or not he should go to war against Persia. And what the Oracle told him is, if you go to war against Persia, a great empire will be destroyed. Well, Persia at this time was already a great empire. So Croesus figured that meant that he would go on to destroy Persia. Unfortunately for him, Lydia was also a great empire. And in the end, Persia, under the rule of Cyrus the Great, would destroy Lydia. So that is like the other thing, like I said, that Croesus is famous for. He's famous for being extraordinarily wealthy because Lydia controlled, among other things, the Bosphorus and Dardanelles Straits, which basically gives you total control over so many maritime trade routes it's not even funny. It's in the ancient world, which in the ancient world gives you control of incredible wealth. But also, he was famous for going to war against Persia and losing. There we go. Now the timer's back. Okay. But so yeah, those are the two things. Those are like the two things that Croesus is famous for. He's famous for going to war against Persia and losing, and for being extraordinarily rich. But so it is to the point where for a while there was a famous phrase. At one point anyways, it's a phrase you still hear sometimes. So it's not completely gone, but it's nowhere near as common as it used to be at one point, right? And that is, people would say that you were richer than Croesus. And it was a way of just describing somebody having extraordinary wealth. Basically was the whole point of that. Line was saying that somebody was richer than Croesus was a way of saying that a person was extraordinarily wealthy. Like damn wealthy. Like goddamn, this person had money. If you describe somebody as being richer than Croesus, that's what that meant, is that person had money. That person had cash. That person had stacks. They were incredibly rich if they were being described as richer than Croesus. But so that's the thing with that, right? And that's the entire reason why the skill for Arrogate would be King Croesus is it has entirely to do with the massive winnings. It has to do with the massive winnings that Arrogate brought in. Like almost this horse over their entire racing career brought in almost $20 million. This horse won almost $20 million. And then, even though it was tragically cut short by illness, his breeding career probably brought in almost as much. I would not be surprised if his breeding career also brought in almost as much. But anyways, an ad break is going to be starting soon, so if you need a chance to stretch, grab a drink, anything else of the sort, now's the time to do it, and I will see y'all when it's over. are back. Now let's get into it, shall we? Also, let me just get rid of that. So I just realized that's still up. Let me get rid of that. You don't need to see my exact frame rate. It's a lot better than it used to be. It is a hell of a lot better than it used to be. Also, you might notice, now that we're getting back into it, that I have gotten some of the outfit mods that I had previously been running to work again after switching over to Linux. I figured out how to make that work. That was the big thing. I figured out how to make that work, and that actually felt really nice because I missed having these outfit mods. So, yeah, we got those back now. We got that back now. Oh, game, what are you doing? Why is it lagging? Okay, that was weird. It did that before. It did that to me the other day. I'm not entirely sure why, but it's annoying. Let me see something real quickly here. I want to check something real quickly. Because, like I said, this is not the first time this has happened to me. Where it's done this thing where the controller starts acting up like that. I'm wondering if it's a case of... Actually, I think I know exactly what it might be, is this cable is kind of fucked. Which, on some level, wouldn't necessarily surprise me. Okay, I think we're back. I think we're better now. I had to move the cable around, and I'm probably gonna have to just replace it outright because it's this is an old cable that back when my PC used to be on the floor, I rolled over it several times with the chair, so it's taken a beating. So I wouldn't be surprised if part of the reason why it's doing that is because the cable needs to be replaced. And so it's switching between the wired connection and the Bluetooth connection, which the latter is... doesn't always... The latter can get kind of pissed off, to put it simply, whenever it's like running anything that's like particularly like, you know, CPU intensive particularly, and it'll start having really high latency. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the problem there. But also, why am I just running around like I don't know where I need to go? I know exactly where I need to go. So let's just head over there. I'm not just idly running around. We have a specific goal. We are going, like I said, we're going back in time to go and save Lyle. No, you haven't been, well, look at it this way. You have not crossed over the threshold for weird by the overall standards of the people you're around. Let me put it that way, Chumbusis. You're around weird people. You have not been weirder than usual. So no, you're fine. All right, so now back in time we go. But also, so mild annoyance I had recently. We're going back into, oh god, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We are going back in time, but that's not why. No time at all. Okay, back to the past we go. Gonna take you back to the past. He'd rather have man, it's actually really sad. It's really sad, but also it was kind of inevitable. What happened with James Rolfe? Where, so I've talked before. I've talked elsewhere about, you know, the whole like about how Angry Video Game Nerd and how that fell off was kind of inevitable. because when James Rolfe was first doing that, when James Rolfe was first doing, the angry nerd persona, it was for an audience that understood that regardless of how he played this up, this was mostly coming from a place of somebody who really appreciated the idiosyncrasies of games from that era, and really, even when they weren't good, had, first of all, had an understanding for and an appreciation of those idiosyncrasies. But as time went on, inevitably that audience was going to start including people who didn't have that necessary core understanding. And the consequence of that is you start to lose a lot of the nuance of Rolfe, and you're just left with the persona of the nerd. And people who are talking about games they only found out about recently. Shit. But anyways, some people were talking about games they only learned about recently with an air of authority that was unearned. Talking with an air of authority that was unearned because, and it turns out that if you actually go back and follow it, it always goes back to the same thing. They're just quoting, or often either quoting or paraphrasing something that James Rolfe said. But they didn't have the necessary understanding of what Rolfe actually meant. But without the actual understanding of what Rolfe actually meant with whatever he was talking about. Also, and that's half the problem. The other half of the problem is that as time went on, as that audience started to grow, they pushed him towards playing up the persona more and more and more. And so Rolfe, the person, would started to disappear, and all that was left was the character of the nerd who just said, who just said funny things about game bad without any of the important, like I said, the important context. He didn't have any of the important context or nuances that come with that made Rolfe. And those are important. Those little nuances are really important. And yeah, like Irate Gamer, Angry Joe to some extent, although Angry Joe, Angry Joe was kind of almost the inverse of Rolfe. I don't know what he's like. I don't know, assuming he even does stuff nowadays still. I don't know how he went down, how things progressed with him later on down the line, but he was kind of the inverse of Rolfe, where he started out being sort of how Rolfe would become, where it was just a persona without any of the person underneath. But he kind of started to grow into, even though there was kind of, that element of exaggeration and of indignant, and performed in, and the performance of indignance, you started to see the person underneath the character. And that did a lot for him. Oh God, it's doing the thing again. Why is it doing that? Seriously. No, I have not seen the video of him and Jeff Keighley, but I bet it's really depressing. I bet it's really depressing, whatever it is. Just knowing knowing Jeff Keighley, I'm betting it's some shit that's gonna make me just go, ugh. Like that is a man who has well and truly sold his soul. Plain and simple. Okay, it's happening again, so I want to check something. And where's the thing to check it at? Is that it? Yes, that's it. No, that's not it. Never mind. Where the hell is the thing? I'm looking for a thing. Hold on a second. I know what it is. I just don't know where it is. So give me a second to find it, because... Oh, there it is. It was right there the whole time. So they're fighting each other, and Jeff is trying to deal with Joe's questions. Okay. So like I said, they're fighting each other. Jeff is trying to deal with... Jeff is trying to deal with Joe's questions. What happens? That's the thing I want to know. So what happens with that? I'm trying to get it to do... There we go. Either way, this just does not sound like a good time wherever this is going. I know that much. So right now I'm just trying something because like I said, I think this USB cable is not in great shape. So I'm trying to get it to pair through Bluetooth, but Linux and Bluetooth is fun. When it works pretty well, but that's the when it works. And there are times where, for whatever reason, it just doesn't. I don't know how much of that is Linux. Like I said, it's Linux and Bluetooth. I don't know how much of that is because it's Linux and Bluetooth, and how much of it is also just this motherboard. So the GPU, like I said, I've upgraded that a couple months ago. But the rest of this PC is still kind of old. And I don't know how much of that is a factor in why this PC does weird things that it does. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm going to go get a different USB cable and see if that helps. Because that might actually do something for it. Is going to a USB cable that hasn't been absolutely thrashed. So I'm gonna give that a shot. I just gotta grab one. I know I have them though. So yeah, this is gonna be one of those where there's gonna be some weird noises because I'm on the other side of a room. But let's see if I can find something. No. There was a cable in here, but I think that was a USB-C to USB-C cable. That one won't work. Let's go with this one. Let's go with this one and see what it does. See if maybe we get better results out of it. Because like I said, I think the problem there was just a frayed cable. Frayed damaged cable leading to bad connection. So we're gonna try this and see if it helps. In there. And then you in here. And let's see if we get a better connection now. Yeah, I think that works better. Okay. So Joe is complaining about how commercialized the Game Awards are, and then goes on to ask about the MMO category because they're apparently underrepresented. And Jeff is like, "Well, what do you want nominated?" He's like, Final Fantasy, and they're both arguing about it, and they keep arguing. Okay. I mean, and then Jeff is then like, "Oh, you're just arguing about how MMOs should be represented, but you can't." And of course, the thing is, he just named Final Fantasy 14. What the hell do you mean you can't name one? He just named one, Jeff. What do you mean? He literally just named one. What are you talking about? I don't know. Like I said, like I don't know what the rest of that goes, but I think that would be my response in that situation. Is just, what do you mean he can't name one? He just mentioned Final Fantasy 14. He just named an MMO. I mean, sure, you might be able to argue that, oh, it's not like there's like hundreds of MMOs like there were back in the early 2000s, but there's a still decent number of MMOs out there. I mean, you've got Final Fantasy 14, Phantasy Star Online 2. You've got... Is Black Desert an MMO? I always hear people talk about Black Desert. Is that an MMO? What else is there that comes to mind? Shit. I can think, like I said, there's a few. Is Terra still around? Dungeon Fighter Online. I'm pretty sure that is an MMO, so yeah. No, I don't know what the hell Dungeon Fighter Online is, so don't quote me on that one. But yeah, no. There's more than one currently active and reasonably successful MMO to go between right now. Like I said, there aren't, you know, tens or even hundreds like there were in the early 2000s, but there's a decent number of them. Sure, Final Fantasy 14 is a juggernaut by comparison, but World of Warcraft is still a thing. It's still an MMO that still gets updates to this day. Like, I think I actually got one at the beginning of this year, actually. Like a big content update at the beginning of this year. Again, I don't really play MMOs, so you'd have to talk to somebody who actually does. But I think, yeah, World of Warcraft actually did get a big content update this year. And possibly even more than one. And then, like I said, Final Fantasy 14, everybody knows Final Fantasy 14. It is a juggernaut that kind of obscures. It is a juggernaut to the point that it kind of obscures all the other MMOs out there and kind of makes it hard to really say how many there are. Reading the rest of the transcript, they definitely hated each other. I mean, like I said, you look at Jeff Keighley and you realize, yeah, that is the face of a man who has sold his soul and knows that he has sold his soul. Like, you look at Jeff Keighley and there is no life behind those eyes. There is nothing left behind those eyes. There is only the void. There's only the void and the realization that inevitably the bill will come due for him, and all that he has built will collapse. But regardless, honestly, in that conversation, I don't know when this was, but whenever this was, yeah, no, I absolutely would have sided with Joe in that situation. I, again, not always the biggest fan of, you know, I forget what his actual name is, but yeah, Angry Joe. I think he started going by his actual name more often though, but I very much would have sided with him in that conversation over Jeff. So where are they actually going to go? Ah, over here. Yeah, let's go back up to the gate. Also, while we're here, we'll probably want to swap out if we can. Who we've got with us? Well, we have somebody to pull aggro. Yes, let's bring the wife. This interview was around 2010. Yeah. So we need to go up here to go and meet Lyle. Through here. Yeah, it's just a straight shot because I remember I went and did all of this. But the thing is, like I said, even if that was in 2010, if that was in 2010, you look at what's happened with it nowadays, and honestly, Joe's been proven kind of right. Like, the show has become what E3 was before. The show became what E3 was before. And the thing is, a lot of people don't really understand, a lot of people kind of misunderstand E3. E3 was never, you know, we would all see things that came from E3, but E3 was not for the consumers. It was not meant for, you know, the average. It wasn't meant for the consumers. It was not a show for the people who were going to actually buy and play those games. It was an industry expo for investors. And when you understand that, that's, you know, you understand that that's why E3 was the way it was, and kind of what led to its downfall was that E3 kind of forgot, is kind of what led to its downfall. Not even what E3 kind of forgot, but what those investors ended up becoming. And we see this now with the Game Awards, where we are getting to see, the kinds of investors in the industry and what they want. No. E3 was entirely for shareholders and investors, Jimbosis. It was never for the actual market. It was a show for the investors. It was for the investors and the shareholders. And that fully defines why E3 was the way it was. And that's what I mean when I say that the Game Awards has become what E3 used to be. That show has become what E3 used to be. It is primarily, and this is a long time coming. Like, you could see, like, Joe could see the transition in 2010, that it was shifting from being, it was shifting towards, shifting from being a place for developers and publishers to show off what they were bringing to market for the people who are actually going to buy and play those games, and instead became a show for it became a show for the investors. And that had a that has a substantial impact on the character of the show. We can argue about whether or not that was inevitable. Like that is an argument that can be had, is that was inevitable, because as the show became successful, it starts to bring in more money. The cost of the show, because of its success, starts to increase as well, and you end up with this spiral where, in order to remain a thing that happens, it has to shift its aim towards the investors, because they're the ones who bring in they're the ones who can bring in huge amounts of money. It's kind of like the same thing you always hear, like people complaining whenever people use, the old perennial complaint about, an artist selling out because they became successful or whatever. They signed a record deal, if it's like a musician, for example, or something similar. Basically, they have achieved a degree of financial success. Exactly, because that's what the investors cared about. That's what the investors cared about. They didn't care about the games. The only, they saw the streaming and the television and the TV and live TV and streaming as, oh hey, this means the Xbox One can provide us with a continuous and recurring revenue stream. This is great. We love this. They were the only ones who did, though. And so that's always that's sort of the eternal conflict in any of these industries where you are any sort of creative industry. This is the eternal conflict in any sort of creative industry, is you need your investors. You need, it is the conflict between the consumer and the investor. And you, as the creator, as the person in charge of that creative industry, you have to find the balance point between them. However, the problem has been, over the past 15 years or so, the investors have been on an offensive to try and force the industry to exclusively cater to them. To basically say, you're going to do what we want, to hell with the consumers, they'll learn to get used to it. We need our money, we need infinite money now. That is the problem. That is ultimately the problem. Is that the investors have effectively the investors have basically broken the balance. And forced publishers and developers to cater to them far more than to consumers. And like I said, if they had their way, and that's where enshittification comes from. Enshittification is literally a company, is a company being pushed one way or another to cater to its investors to the exclusion of its customers, to the exclusion and detriment of its customers. That is the inevitable, I don't want to say inevitable, but that is the problem of enshittification wrapped up quite, that is the problem that the term enshittification wraps up quite nicely. It is investors demanding, it's investors demanding more squeeze, more squeeze than is viable. Companies have to start taking drastic measures to satisfy investor demands, and as a result, end up destroying their reputation and burning their reputations and destroying themselves. How do you get away from enshittification? Well, for one thing, you're going to... Yeah, no, there's like I said, it is a whole, there's a whole conflict there. There is a whole ass conflict there that you can get into the weeds of. But the key thing is, like I said, it is investors breaking the balance. It is very much something led by the investors and shareholders. Oh, what are you? Are you pure platinum 3? Okay, it's not the rocks. I need the rocks for Jadwiga as well. So I'm trying to keep an eye out for those. Breath of Flame. Huh. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. I wanted this one. Ha! Donk. All right, let's get in before they recover. Oh, that could have been better. Wasn't the worst, but that could have been done so much better. Oh, there's a shiny back over there. How do I get? Oh! Oh, you thought you were slick! You thought you were slick! No. No. There's somebody behind me. There's somebody behind me. Sit down. Ah, out of range. Back. Oh, watch that marksman. All right, get rid of you now. Take the chance here to heal. Let's grab the shiny down there. Ooh. But also, so the other reason why this happens, I should mention, the other reason why this happens is the incentive structure for executives right now is entirely because of how executives are paid. Because of how executives are paid. Because of how executives are paid, they are heavily incentivized to maximize. They are heavily incentivized to maximize shareholder value because most CEOs, their pay is entirely based, not entirely, but is largely based on the company's stock price because a lot of their pay is in stock options. It's not a direct salary. And this they do this for tax reasons, in case you're wondering. This is done entirely for tax reasons. So if you wanted to, so those three things, but I think that's three things. Three things you would have to do in order to disincentivize and shitification. And all of them would be met with heavy resistance, but are ultimately, I'd say, necessary. And they are, you have to change how CEOs are paid. How executives in a company are paid. You have to change how executives in a company are paid. For my example, it might even just be, you just have to flat out cap how much of an executive's pay can be directly tied to a company's stock price. That's one of the things you might have to do. Because then you know, that incentivizes them to look beyond the that's one thing that incentivizes them to look beyond the next financial quarter. You also have to just, you know, go in and break up monopolies. That's the other thing, of course. You have to go in and break up a lot of monopolies. And this isn't just in the games industry or even in creative industries in general. This is just broadly. We are long overdue for some Taft style trust busting. Not even Roosevelt, because like a lot of people don't really remember this, but after Theodore Roosevelt, Taft continued the trust busting afterwards. Arguably, in some cases, to the point of overdoing it. He went after things that Roosevelt would never have touched. We are arguably in the overdue for some Taft-style trust busting to break up a lot of these monopolies that exist. Really, I said three things, but really it's those two. It is those two. Before you can do anything else, it's those two. Breaking up monopolies and changing the executive incentive structure. You have to change the executive incentive structure, or else the other, that I think is the first thing, is changing the incentive structure for executives, which may require, like I said, something like capping how much of an executive's pay can be in stocks. That's right, you don't get to do a damn thing! Oh, you're the one who's making the lightning on the floor. Okay. I was wondering. Yeah, enough of that from you. Bye. Oh, what do we got here? What do we got here? Flash Javelin. It could actually 20, yeah, like you said, start of next year, if things go the way it's looking like they're going to, that very well could be the case. That very well could be the case if the current trend of pushback against corporate overreach continues. If the current trend of rising pushback against corporate overreach continues, then yeah, no, the start of next year could be a very substantial, could be an inflection point. It absolutely could be an inflection point where things kind of start to get better. Especially because, and so this is something I've had to deal with fairly recently, so it's also something I have on mind, especially with how much age verification has pissed people off. Like, you want to see how this has reached beyond the realm of the chronically online and has become something that the average person on the street now cares about. That's where you look at it. That's where you can really see it, is age verification and flock. Oh. Oh. Like, I have... So, I don't know how familiar you are with Flock. It's the company that puts up all the cameras for cities and shit. You know, it's the company that's putting up all the cameras and shit for cities, right? No, the cameras and the, you know, the gunshot detection microphones. That's them. So I have some thoughts about the whole Flock thing. Flock to me is a great example of how if you want to get something done, you have to form alliances of necessity against people you don't really like. And so for me, and opposing a company like Flock is a great example of that. I don't like Flock because mass surveillance is a tool of repression that even when it's done without the intent of oppression, creates a society of paranoia and low trust that is ultimately damaging. Unfortunately, a lot of the more visible anti-Flock people, whilst we both agree that we hate Flock and the cameras need to be brought down whenever possible, a lot of them hate Flock because the Flock cameras get away with their ability to commit petty crimes. So that's a great example of what I mean. It's like, we both hate this thing. We hate it for wildly different reasons, and after it is defeated, we will probably be enemies. But for now, we are in an alliance of necessity. Oh, what's in this? Yo, poleaxe. Let's have a look at this thing. I think I know what this is, but I want to confirm. So it's not a hammer, because it very well might have been a hammer. Nope, there it is. It's completely unleveled, but I wanted to have a look at it just to see what it actually looks like. Argent Wolf Poleaxe. It looks kind of cool. Let's see what the moveset is like. Ooh, I like this moveset. I do like this moveset. I may actually go and put some leveling into this. Okay, dual blades. That's the other one I was going to switch back to, though. Oh, what do we got over here? Acid vaccine, okay. Oh, there's a purple thing over here. There's a shiny. I need it. I need it. Oh, it's a rock. It's a shiny rock. I need those for Yadviga. I need those for Yadviga. Yo, dodge this, asshole. And another one. What have we got here? Tender Crimson Stone, another one of those. What were those things I just picked up, though? Using the tunnels as part of the procedure will greatly increase the odds of a successful sealing. However, it is not yet known how the sealing ritual will affect the revenant performing it. Results will be reported to Queen Imogen. Surveys of the tunnels beneath the scar are ongoing. Presently, the effects of the ritual are unknown. Revenants that undergo the procedure will likely die, or, if the body survives, be robbed of their mental facilities. Queen Imogen must not become a sacrifice. We must find a way. The pulse of the massive heart in the deepest part of the tunnels has gradually accelerated. There is no longer any room for doubt. The large arch-like rock formations that surround the valley were a trap, and in our greed for the condensed coal within, we became lambs to the slaughter. This entire valley is the mouth of a colossal horror, and we are its sustenance. Oh. Oh, no. Oh no, they dug too deep, they dug too deep, they dug too greedily, and they found the horror at the bottom of the mine. Oh god damn it! It's the dwarves of Moria. God damn it! Okay, Lyle. Yes, I will take that. Thank you. We got anything up here? No, doesn't look like it. Let's see if he has anything to say, though. Nope, that's all he has to say. There's nothing there. I already know what's over there. Oh, is this a... Oh? A bond. Interesting.
これが三の谷の真相。おびただしい数の化け物の触手と国家配信業石山に引き寄せられた獲物を捕らえる大量の酸。この予想は当たってほしくなかったけど、やはりこの谷は巨大な化け物の胃袋なのね。そしてこいつはもう目覚めた。
You must stop it now.
一刻の猶予もない。私がこいつを食い止める。
What do you got for me? What do you got for me, Chumbusis? What random fact is it?
あなたに女王としての命令を伝えます。クレイグ、およびその配下の兵士たち。そして
Yeah, the Volkswagen Beetle from the movie, right? That Herbie, right?
退去期限は3日間。抵抗する場合は武力行使を厭いません。
Oh, I know what she was doing. I know what she was up to. Oh, no, I don't know that Herbie. I don't know that Herbie. I know the car. Yeah, when I hear Herbie, I think of the car. The love bug. 最悪の場合、封印は失敗し、この谷は化け物に飲まれるでしょう。あなたたちも早急に退避を。So, yeah, no, I don't know the robot from the Fantastic Four. What about him?
バカなことを。退避は命令です。いかに女王の命といえど、これだけは従うわけにはいきません。
He basically replaced the Fantastic Four for a while and then decided to cuss them out when his inhibitor chip went off. Okay.
ここにいる者は皆かつてあなたに行き場を与えていただいた。
So basically he turned into Bender. Is what you're telling me. He replaced Johnny Storm. Okay. So basically he turned into Bender is what you're saying. Oh, I see where this is going now. He went from Jarvis to Bender. God, that reminds me. Speaking of robots in comic books, I keep coming back to this one edit, and it's these two different versions of Ultron. Ultron. You know, it's this one from like I'm guessing it's from some, you know, animated series for kids. Like, I'm keeping them all for me, myself, and I, Ultron. And then it cuts, and it's just like, scream, and your entire staff dies. I keep coming back to that edit for whatever reason. It is such a good contrast of just, again, you know, like a case of you know, the whole like same character by the way thing. But let's see what these two have to say. What is it? What is it? Which one?
整理が追いつかねえ。少し時間をくれ。
Which line is it? You know, this isn't an Ultron line, but I can do one for you, actually. I can do another one for you, actually. This isn't Ultron, but this is actually the one when I first came up with this when I first put this combination of plugins together, this is the one I actually did it for.
How does it feel to be conditioned? Trained to dance to a hollow tune, giving up part of your soul for the approval of others. Do you sleep well, knowing that nothing you do will ever be of value to yourself? Merely transitory amusement for fickle crowds who will forget you long before.
God damn it, I didn't even know what I was gonna do at the end there, but yeah, oh yeah.
How it feels to chew five gum.
Like that, right? Yeah, I can see how that fits the 5 gum, yeah. I can see how that fits the 5 gum line, yeah. I can see how that fits the 5 gum line, yeah.
She
Situation was too dire. It's breaking loose! It's breaking loose! The seal has begun to fail. Ooh, what do we got here? What have we got here? Oh, there's Imogen. Hi! That's not your mother anymore, Craig. I don't think you understand. The seal? Yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me at all. Speaking of you know what is the thing that I wish at least one major Western comic book would do? Is don't make a character whose thing is speed and then have them hit like a kitten wearing gloves. Because remember, if an object is moving really fast, when it hits something, it's gonna do a lot of damage. Like, it would be really cool to see like a major portrayal of the Flash, where instead of just being like barely hitting, but I'm so fast, I'm barely hitting. It's just, yeah, he's coming at you at Mach fuck. He stops suddenly. The air in front of him flashes to plasma, and it basically just creates a shotgun blast of fuck everything in that general direction. Like, at least once, you know? At least once, remind your audience that speed is devastating. A fast-moving object is devastating. And it's devastating precisely because it's a fast-moving object. Oh no, ad break starting soon. We might have to throw this fight. We might have to throw this round of the fight. Just We're gonna have to throw this round of the fight because of that. God damn it. Okay, there we go. But yeah, ad break starting soon. So if you need a chance to stretch, grab a drink, anything else like that, now's the time to do it. And I'll see y'all when it's over.
どうしたぼーっとして。
And we're back. And so I was thinking more about this whole thing where, showing off a scene of, of how, how devastating velocity can be, right? Is you have that moment where the Flash is coming to like a sudden stop, right? He comes to a sudden stop, and he has that coming to a sudden stop, and then you just see, like I said before, like, I have seen The Boys. I actively dislike The Boys. The comic is even worse, but the show is still not very good. Because the entire thing is basically Garth Ennis being Garth Ennis, which is to say a mean-spirited hack who thinks everything you love sucks and you should just treat it all, and you should basically the equivalent of saying what Garth Ennis does to comics is basically the equivalent of that one person who tries to turn the 4th of July into a struggle session. Into a struggle session about colonialism. It's like, dude, we get that this happened. This is not the time or place. All you're doing is pissing everyone off. You're not getting your message across, no matter how clever or cool you think you are. Honestly, I'm kind of not surprised that it is. But you mentioned it. You mentioned the boys, though. And I know that's why you did it, but mention of the boys is going to pretty much inevitably lead to me talking about how much I fucking hate Garth Ennis. Those kind of just go hand in hand with each other. Okay. Yeah, just gonna blow up the whole fucking arena. Gotcha. She got lasers. What the hell? Can you stop that? I'm out of your range, loser. Oh, lucky. Like, can I get the shot off? Yes, I did. Ooh. Oh. That actually was kind of cool, though. The fact that the saw blades were like so perfectly timed with the with the shots, though, that was really annoying. That was really damn annoying. Never even got to thank her. I was gonna say, yeah, did Gobo and... Weirdest thing you say. Weirdest thing you say. I wonder how that could have happened. Maybe. Maybe. We won the day one more time. Half convinced that was the end of the line. Well, hey. That means that now we have we're gonna have all the heroes back in the present. I wonder what that's gonna change about this place. Actually, I wonder what that is gonna change about this place when we go back to the present and have to deal. It's because now we have to deal with round 2. Oh, YouTube's always doing that. YouTube's always doing that, Chimbusis. It just takes on different flavors. And it's like, Almantis was talking about this with somebody the other day, and he was talking about how the 3rd spot in your YouTube recommendations, it seems like, is generally reserved for whatever is currently like really popular or really, you know, like really getting a lot of traffic right now. And unfortunately, because of how fast all of these various AI slop content farms can just pump shit out it's pretty consistent for that third slot to be occupied by that.
そうだろう
They don't know if this is the case or not, but it was kind of like a pretty reasonable hypothesis that they had. Coin! Chappari coin da! The original script for insert family-friendly movie. And let me guess, they're all like grimdark as fuck. They're all like not just grimdark. They're grimdark and really poorly written. They're basically mid-2000s creepypastas, aren't they? They're basically mid-2000s creepypastas, aren't they? Like the really bad ones. If you do, let me know if it's as bad as I said it is. Let me know if it's as bad as I say it is. Wait, no. The bond. I don't do this with the fucking missile. I do it with the bond. Ugh. Because it's right over there. What?
どうかされまもう二度と輪廻の
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've done all the heroes. Oh shit, we can go to the confluence and we can change our appearance at any missile. I didn't even realize that. I always went back to Magbell to do that. Shit. That's useful to know. Like whenever I need to change my appearance, I always just ended up going back to Magbell and doing it there. Kind of like how in the first game, you would go back to the hideout and change your appearance there.
時間移動
A real version of what with Bob's Burgers,
これで
where you keep forgetting about something about it, and so you have to keep going backwards.
彼らの別れの運命もきっとさあ彼らの歴史が変わったことで大封印閣はおそらく旅団の期待に応えてみせます
I have a guess where they might be. So let's just cut the distance we have to travel a bit. Just get straight to that elevator.
すぐそちら
Also, I swear to God, so I was talking about bass, playing bass earlier on stream, right? At the beginning of stream, and I keep having the bass tone that Sivasol Sipkins uses in his playthrough of, so Sivasol Sipkins is the bassist for a couple of bands. I forget both of them, but the one that matters for this right now is Blackbriar. But he did a playthrough of, he did like a live playthrough of Floriography, which is one of the songs he did for a band called Blackbriar on their most recent album. It's a pretty decent album, by the way. I really, it's kind of got like that Nightwish sound sort of to it. You know, female-fronted goth metal band. You know, the sort of, if you know the sound I'm talking about, you know what I mean. Like, it's a very distinctive sound that I'm personally very fond of. It's a distinctive sound that I'm personally very fond of.
少しでも空を飛べるなんて
Woo! Watch those doors. Oh yeah, speaking of mods, so along with the outfit mods, I also installed a mod for the motorcycle speed.
想像できます
And basically it's like 3 times the speed that it is in the base game now, which makes it feel a lot nicer, but is also substantially harder. Also makes it harder to control. But anyways, so he's doing this like live playthrough of Floriography as the
彼らの
bassist.
誇りが堂々とはためいてとても綺麗です
Oh no, that
い
sounds
よいよね
ugh.
英雄ライルの命を奪い 世界を救う時は
Yeah, we know, Iris.
行きましょ
We
う
have to do it with all three of them, actually.
決戦は黎明の旅団が収める準備ができたら
But I'm not going to do Lyle just yet. We're going to head back first to Magmel. First, we're going to head back to Magmel. And we're going to see if there's anything interesting here now with Lavinia that she might have to say, considering the situation. Because if anyone's got anything to say, it's going to be her.
どういこれから
Nope.
ブラ
Nope, same line as usual. And then you have nothing new to say. So I guess let's go ahead to Jose's outpost. And let's pop the cocoon and see what's waiting for us on the other side. Release the seal. Wonder what she's gonna be like this time. She was like, the blind monster before. With the giant, gold mask. What do you think she's gonna look like this time? She's got... Looks like she has more arms. Wait, no, those are like big flowy sleeves. Oh. Oh. That's dramatic. Quelle est dramatique. I'm guessing she is no longer blind, though.
よかった
Yep.
お前が生きる未来を私は守れたんだな叶うならまた共に生きてみたかったお前と一緒に
Oh boy.
刻み
That is a really cool design, though. Oh! Oh no.
残念だが私には歩いていく
Zada won't be joining you on your journey.
見送ることしかできない
But
らし
what if you could?
いやるべきことは
What if you
分かってい
could?
るな
I get the feeling there's going to be something else to this. That there's more to come even after this point. You know?
いい顔
I feel like we're not quite done yet.
いいなずけ殿
What is she gonna be called this time? Hero Jose. I have a gun. Oh! Oh, you're fast! Oh! Oh yeah, we're gonna be here a while. No, I didn't. But also, I have to admit, I was never really into regular show when it was airing.
なお呼びに行こう
I kind of came back to it a little bit later on down the line. I never really was into regular show when it was running, though.
よかった
Like, I get why people liked it now in hindsight, but it did not appeal to me at the time.
全力で気が
2 in the AM PM. But also, It always kind of fucked me up though, that the entire reason why, but not always, but once I realized, once I realized the whole what a big thing with Mordecai was in that show, like I said, after kind of revisiting it later on down the line, it kind of fucked me up how so much of what was wrong with him was how hung up he was over Margaret. How you could just never get over her. And I was like, damn. Like, that is in some ways kind of uncomfortably real. How bad, just how bad you get hung up over somebody to the point where it ruins your current relationships. But the other thing I've been thinking about lately. So, did you ever watch The Boondocks? Did you ever watch the animated series for The Boondocks? The reason I'm asking is because I've recently kind of had the realization that Huey is arguably the worst written character in the whole show. Well, this is not new. This is like one of my recurring problems with the Boondocks animated series is Huey. I don't like the character of Huey Freeman, specifically because of how the show's narrative will twist itself into pretzels to make the point of Huey is always right. And it results in some episodes just being kind of wasted. Because Huey is very much meant to be, you know, sort of the... Huey is meant to sort of represent like the perspective of... It's meant to be like a particular perspective of the black experience or such. Of that, which you're right. I don't necessarily have the personal connection to, but I do have. But there is some element of it that is sort of universal, actually, that isn't specific to being black, and that is. It's the racial victim narrative, and more specifically how that leads into conspiracy theories. And the episode I think that really shows how the character of Huey could have been done better is there is an actual episode of the Boondocks about hoteps. If you don't know what hoteps are, I don't blame you. This is like getting into real weird shit. But hoteps are this particular group of radical Afrocentrists who insist on certain things like this idea that the Egyptian pharaohs were black, and in many cases that many if not all like famous inventions of the 20th century are actually somehow secretly stolen ideas from black people. They are generally considered to be crazy, even by people who like agree with even like half of what they say. because they take that shit too. Yeah, it's a genuine movement. These people are insane. Like, most people will agree that Hoteps are actually insane. They're also extremely sexist and homophobic as well on top of that. So take that as you will. The problem with the Hotep, so that's the Hoteps in a nutshell. Poorly summarized Hoteps. But the problem I have with the Hotep episode is I think it should have been Huey who fell for the Hotep narrative, and then Riley, their grandfather, or if you really want to be a cheeky son of a bitch, Tom or Uncle Ruckus, who are often sort of seen as, you know, we're often seen as examples of what black, you know, of like how black people should not be, would have been the ones to break that narrative's hold on Huey and bring him back to reality. Like the episode itself, Riley is the one who falls for it, and I feel like that was a missed opportunity, narratively speaking. It should have been Huey falling for that, because he's already kind of halfway there. And it would have been just like a natural extension of the philosophy that Huey already follows being taken too far. It's like, just, I don't have enough time to actually position is the thing. And that makes it tricky. Go! Full aggro, yes. Full aggro so I can do my gun thing. But yeah, they are very much a fringe thing. The Hoteps are very much a fringe thing, but they do exist. I have to remember I have that one sometimes, because that one's probably gonna be more useful in this situation against Jose than the big shot. Go, 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 go. Oh, there we go. Woo. Okay, you know, I don't remember the episode you're talking about, but I wouldn't be surprised if that actually was what led to the show's cancellation. Because Tyler Perry was a petty motherfucker. Well, I say was as if they're dead. Tyler Perry's not dead, right? I'm pretty sure they're not. But Tyler Perry is a petty motherfucker, so that doesn't surprise me one bit. The episode was banned. Ah, okay. Oh shit! Juice me up, Lou! They really are! It's just the same movie over and over again. Actually, although, you know what and this is to the surprise of absolutely nobody, my favorite episode of that still remains, of course. So, if you really want to understand the Boondocks, I think the episodes to watch are A Pimp Named Slickback, the first and the two Stinkmeaner episodes. Colonel H Stinkmeaner is kind of a bit of a recurring villain for the show. He has like two really good, and they're like two of the most famous, and at one point two of the most quotable. You can't really quote them anymore, but they were two of the most quotable episodes in the show's history. For quite some time. Like I said, they're not really quotable anymore. But yeah, for a while they were two of the most quotable episodes in that show, in the show's run. Like, we all knew. At one point, we all knew that episode. We all knew that episode line for line. I don't know it that well anymore, but I remember how much influence that episode had. It was a big deal. Oh my god. Kills me before I get control back. Oh my god. Do I have stuff for this? I don't think I do. No, I don't. Okay. I figured I didn't. I just wanted to know if I did or not. And yeah, no, like, Hallmark movies are incredibly bland. Like you said, it's the same plot over and over again. They are absolutely like the most blandly uninspired plot with the most blandly uninspired characters. Yeah, Tyler Perry is very much the same thing. It is absolutely fair to call Tyler Perry Black Hallmark. In fact, whoa. Because I am actually somewhat familiar with Tyler Perry movies. Like I said, mostly through osmosis, because but still, yes, I'm fairly familiar with Tyler Perry movies. Woo. Got in there, actually did some decent damage with that. Can you stop? Well, I guess we know the answer to that question now. Oh, that is so good for making space. That is so good for making space. And that one is super aggressive. I have to remember that. Ah, shit. We got downed. We're okay, though. Get back up. Watch it, watch it, watch it. Ooh. Shit. We got so close last time. I'm still pissed off about that one. The fact that she was able to hit us and hit and kill us while we were still in the recovery animation. We were still in the recovery animation for, you know, getting rezzed. Sucked. Ugh. Yeah, I figured that was not going to be the run considering everything there. God, that is actually a pretty good, that's a really nice iteration on the design from the first time you fight her, by the way. Because remember, the first time you fight her, she was like hunched over, she was blind, she had the giant sword, right? That's actually a really nice iteration on the design. But you know what? I feel like we're going to need to do something a little interesting here. Well, we're not gonna do it like that. Yeah, that didn't work. But I think that is actually something that we can use there. That's something we can use there. Is both of us, like just like the first time when we fought her, double up on the slow axe, and we're gonna have to wait for an opportunity to make it work, but we can pull that off. We can basically stick her with the slow real quick. Because Lou has the slow as well. Oh, that was a bad time to swap weapons. Now this is the one we want though. Shit. Have to play a little bit of keep away here. Okay, we got her with one. Can we do it again? Nope, that didn't work. Hold on, I'm gonna go back to Magmel. No, I don't have to go back to Magmel. I just have to talk to Yadviga's minion. Where is that damn minion at? Oh, there's one over here. We can go talk to them. Because I think they can upgrade the Forma for us as well. I forget if they can or not, or do I have to go back to Magma for this? Oh no, I can do it here. Okay. But I would need Heart Remnants. Heart Remnant 3. I don't think I can get those from anywhere is the other problem. Which are these other blood codes? I got a couple other blood codes recently. I want to check those real quick. Pioneer Queen Imogen, no, definitely not. No. The only one that might be better is Jose. But the problem with Jose is that Jose doesn't have nearly as much Iker as... Where is it? Not Lavinia, because Lavinia has problems as well. Where is it? Not Noah. Yeah, it's Holly. because that's the one I was using before, and Holly is really good for using the bayonets with. Okay. The only thing I can think is let's go back to Magma and see if I can actually buy those heart remnants or not. Because if I can, then we can upgrade the bow. And since we're already staying at range, running the bow might actually work. Because I know you can get the heart remnants. I just forget how. I can, but I have no money. Let's see if I... Oh, but I do have a way around that. So it's not that big of a deal. So we just do this real quick. And then we talk to Jadwiga. We're gonna need a few of these. That'll probably be enough. Then we go over to this side. We talk to Jadwiga downstairs. I think it's this one, but let's see. Yeah, it is. Okay, and that upgrades them all to +3 now. Okay. So now I have that taken care of. Let's actually see what happens if I use the bow. Because the bow is faster. The bow is not as risky as the axe or the sword. But it does do less damage per shot as opposed to the individual swings of the other formas. So let's see what this does. Because like I said, we're already staying off at distance. That's actually kind of decent. That's actually not bad at all. Oh, and we can use the gun to keep our distance safe. We've got a good combo here actually now. All about controlling distance. We kind of just dominate the fight like this. Oh, she's going for the thing. Grab it. Back shot. And bow that again. Watch it. Oh, here come the pillars. Oh! That was nasty. Dodging those is hard. Oh, that's why we use the other dodge for those. I always forget the reason we use that's what the alternate dodge is for. Here come the lasers. Lasers again. Watch it. Here they come again. She's aggroed on Lou. Take the opportunity. Oh, we stunned her out of it. Ah, she's going for another re. Lasers. Watch it. Heal. Oh, she's really on me now. Oh, the second one. Oh, she stunned her. Well done, Lou. Get in there before she unstuns. Yes! Wow, we're actually doing pretty good here. I have a feeling the fight's about to change in some pretty drastic way now, but I'm not sure quite what. There's a motif in this theme that reminds me of Dot Hack GU. Oh, here come the lasers again. Oof, ow. Ooh, lucky on that one. All right, she switched aggro. Yeah, the bow was definitely the way to go. The bow was definitely the answer here. Ooh! Ooh, that was effective, to say the least. Oh no, one of the blades is Z fighting the ground. One of the blades is like clipping the ground. It's making him... Oh! Oh no, are we gonna have like a choice or something here? I feel like this is a moment where we're gonna have to make a decision. The ring. You know, I still want to know what that actually is that lets us do that. Do you think they're ever going to explain that? How that actually works? True to oneself.
討伐完了です。
Oh.
最後まで一心にあなたを思って。
Oh, there's Lise. And what is this about speak to Jose too?
姉さんを救ってくれたんですね。あなたの手で打たれることを。私たちはこれからも。
I knew there was something more to this. Wonder what it could be. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. I see where this is going now. I see where this is going now. Let's go see where this leads. Let's go see where this leads, shall we? Because I have a feeling there's going to be even more to this. To what happens with Jose in the past. Let's go and see what's waiting for us 100 years ago. With José Anjou. Where the hell is she again? She's not here. There's Lyle.
どうした
Oh, he has a side
少し
quest
グ
now.
レイグの足なんだが心臓の損傷完全な回復には
Most likely
長い
he'll
時
for
間
the
がか
long
かる
haul, but he'll be able to walk again.
正直クレイグ
Ah, this is like a side quest for him.
の
Okay.
売人が違法な取引
I'll go with you.
売人たち決度はこれからめ
Not yet.
売人たちが素直にこちらに
But
従うと
now that I know that's what that is,
戦闘の準備はして
yeah,
い
I
る
figured that was going to be the thing with him. Is like he had a request that we can do as a side quest. Okay, so Jose is going to be on the other side of the building. So let's go see what that is before we wrap up for tonight, shall we? What all does Jose have to say after all that we've been through? So I think she's going to be over here. Based on... Yeah, there she is. Okay, found her.
調子はどうだちょうどよかった以前作った料理を準備ができたら
Yeah, sure. Why?
Yes.
Let's go.
いつでも力に
Jose's outpost, which is over here. And let's go see what this is. What is this that she's roping us into, I wonder?
Jose, すぐに来てくれ。
Oh?
どうしたそんなに慌てて
外に
お前にそっくりな吸血鬼が来ているんだ。
Oh, it's Lise!
どころじゃない。
Oh, I see where this is going already. Jose didn't know her sister was alive. And now that she does, that's gonna have some like profound impact on the present, isn't it?
姉さん。
本当にお前なのか。
輪廻の影響は少し残ってるけど大丈夫。ちゃんとここにいるよ。
You know, I still have the mental image of just how when we did we got the thing for Jose from Lise, and it was like another eye patch. I still have just this mental image of Jose having on 2 eye patches and just look like an absolute dork.
ずっと迷惑ばかりかけて。
何も言うな。全部分かってるから。
ありがとう姉さん。
I have a feeling that this will have a profound impact on the future. I don't know how, but somehow. Oh. I'm guessing that speaks to Lise in the present. No, it's not. It's not in the present. It's still... I have a feeling we're about to do something here. It's gonna be pretty significant. Let's go see what Lise wants. I'm gonna guess she's gonna be where Jose usually is. Just offhand. You know, she's gonna be in the same room as her sister, I'm guessing. Well, no, because Craig's in a different room from Lyle. So, maybe not. Nope, they're together. Okay. They are, in fact, together in the same room.
納得できない。ちゃんと説明して。
Eh?
私が決めたことだ。文句を言うな。
What are you two idiots talking
あ
about?
なただったんですね。姉さんの言い名付けというのに
Oh, Lise found out about that!
姉さんに心を許せるパートナーができたのは嬉しいです。
But...
だけど、高名な吸血鬼ならともかく。
Ah, yep.
しかも、
It was kind of a spur of the moment thing, Lise. Let's just say...
適当なことを言って、後に引けなくなってるだけでしょ。
I mean, it may have started as a lie, but it isn't necessarily one now.
木から聞いていれば一方的なことばか
It
り。
may have started as one, but it
お前はこい
didn't
つの
stay
ことを
one.
何も
Let's just
知
put
ら
it
ない
that
だ
way.
ろ
知りません。だから、証明してほしいんです。あなたは姉さんと一緒に、輪廻種の残滓を討伐したそうです、ね。
Oh no, what are you gonna make us do,
その時
Lise?
近頃、水没都市に危険な化け物が増えています。
Ah. Anything from... I've gotta...
調子に乗らないでください。
I've gotta go for it.
姉さんだけです。化け物の討伐を正式に依頼します。姉さんとの件は切り分けて考えるので。
But we'll deal with Lisa's problem and her objections, let's say. We'll be dealing with those in the future. For now, though, let's go see who's on that we can raid into, shall we? Who's on we can raid into? Who have I not raided in a while as well? That's another question to go with that. Let's see. Harpocrates, Lala's on. We rated her recently though. So let's see who else is around. Alex is playing Kletka. That could be interesting. Choco playing Luigi's Mansion. Maple just chatting. I think Peony's probably going to be doing Deadlocked Ranked. Vanille is playing F Final Fantasy IV. Gingy is doing art. Tifferet's playing Pal World. A lot of people have been playing Pal World recently. I guess they put out a big update. I don't keep up with the game nearly enough to know. I'm guessing that's what happened there is they put out a big update. Let's go say hi to Alex, actually. Let's go say hi to Alex. And as always, you want to see what I'm up to off stream? These are all the places you can find me. And let me just get the raid message for the Twitch people. There we are. And I think that only leaves one thing to say. And, well, if you've been here before, you already know what it is. If you're new, well, I hope to see you around more. But until then, good night.
And feel better.